Well, if you love violence and the people who are experts at it, once again this week you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Fight Guys. I'm Erik Apple, your host. As always, I'm here with some pretty interesting characters, and we got yet another one this week. None other than Razor Rob McCullough. Rob, what's happening, brother?
What's up? Living the dream over here.
Now, I think most of our fans are going to know exactly who you are, but you were, man, it's crazy. It feels like a lifetime ago, but you were a real presence both in MMA and kickboxing. I believe you were the WEC champion at one point. And what other belts am I forgetting about?
Oh God. I was the International Muay Thai Council Intercontinental Champion in like 2001. And then that's United World Muay Thai Association 5-time champion. Oh, dude, there was like a 12 belts total. I did a no rules tournament too for a pit fighting championship. Fought 3 dudes in one night, won that tournament.
Now, on Tapology, it only shows we have 2 Muay Thai fights, but I imagine it's more like 20 or 30.
Quite a few. You know what though? Back in the day, they called them Pro-Am. So you still got paid, you still sold tickets. Like when I started, it was 96. 97 was the first one I went in, and it was in Vegas. And then after that, dude, it was just like, they're like, yeah, I remember I went in to go get a license, and they didn't have like kickboxing or anything. It was boxing. So you had to get a boxing license. And the lady spoke Spanish. I speak a little bit of Spanish. My mom half Hispanic. And the lady was making fun of me at Dr. Gluckman's in San Pedro.
Remember Dr. Gluckman's was the best. And that lady who ran his office, I think she died, correct?
Yeah, Rose. She passed away. But Rose, I saw her every year. Love that lady.
You remember how easy it was for people who don't know, but the real fighters know, in California, getting licensed once the sport was sanctioned was kind of complicated. But if you just went to Dr. Gluckman's office, because I'm pretty sure he was in charge of the sanctioning body as far as the doctors, you just went to his office. It was all handled in one day.
Yeah, he was a stud. You know, it was funny because you went there too. He was I want to say sterile, right? He came in and he had a mask on, and this was before like the whole mask mandates and COVID. We're talking the 90s. And he'd come in, he'd do his thing. Oh, okay. All right. Now pull your pants down. Okay, cool. All right. And then it was it, right? You signed the thing and walk out. And I remember every time I went there, because it was, 15 years going in there, looking at all the pictures in his office, and it was him and his son on all these adventures, like traveling, fishing trips and hunting trips. So I said to him, like the last time I went there, I said, Doc, I've been coming here for, almost 2 decades. And I said, I've really enjoyed looking at the photos of you, and I assume that's your son. And he stopped, he looked at me, and he turned human. He took down his mask, and he goes, yeah, every year we went on this vacation. And I was like, wow, he is like an actual person. He was really cool. We had a conversation. He put his mask back on. He's like, you're good.
Now, tell us, before we kind of get into some questions about stuff that's happened in the past and kind of get into your background, tell us, you're still involved with the sport now. I mean, it seems pretty heavily.
Yeah. I mean, I never really stepped away from it. My fight career took off, and I didn't ever see myself as like, I'm the fighter guy, even though that's kind of like the persona. I was a coach. I started as taking a bag class at LA Boxing, and the guy was like, hey kid, want to teach the class? And I was like, I was going to take, sure. He's like, here's $20. I was like, dude, I need $20. Let's go. And I started teaching these bag classes, which turned into me sparring with some dudes who were pretty good. And then a champion. And then the kid's dad was, you want to fight? I was like, sure. And started fighting and was teaching. So I always kind of saw myself as a coach. The fighting thing I just did for fun. So to me, it's been one hell of a ride. The fight part took off. Thank God. Made a little bit of money, bought some houses, started a family, and was like, okay, this is cool, right? I guess I'm considered an adult now. And
I thought it was just some kid from the street trying to barely get by.
Yeah, I had to start catching myself saying like this kid, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a kid. I'm like, I could be someone's grandpa at this point. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? How did that? It just went by too fast. So yeah, I'm still in the game. I still teach. I created a Razor striking system. Our headquarters is here in Huntington Beach at HB Ultimate Training Center. My partner Tiki, he has Arsenal Management. He's got a bunch of guys under contract with UFC now. So he's got the management part. We have a pretty large pro practice. So we've got guys here that are training, competing, and UFC and all the top promotions. So it's been really fun. I to be honest with you, growing up and doing all this, I realized like, hey, if you want to fight for a living, you're usually a weird person. Like just straight up. I hate to say that, but like I was homeless. So yeah, $20. And then I was like, wait, I'd like to fight. So I was like, hey, yeah, you're gonna pay me to fight and I won't go to jail. Cool. And then I started getting paid for it. So I was like, all right. There's a new breed though, that like they went to college. Like this is a career choice. There's kids that are like, hey, I want to be a UFC fighter. So it took me away from the sport a little bit where I was like, I want to make a living, right? I was making a really good living before I actually started fighting and going, traveling. And that's all I did was, I was like, hey, I'll be a personal trainer and just teach this stuff. And then I realized like, okay, I'm making more doing my side gig of fighting. I'm going to see how that goes. But I had a bunch of fighters and, I got guys who became champions and MMA and Muay Thai boxing. And it was super fun. But I was like, hey, there's a lot more regular people out there, general population, that are interested in fitness than there is people that are like, I'm going to be the next UFC champion. Right. That's just statistically, right?
Well, nobody makes money off actual fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck trying to, because if they lose, the first person they're blaming is their coach and it's like their girlfriend. It's like, bro. And then it's like you trying to like find the money. So I spent my 20s in shitty hotels and then nice hotels with my friends, cornering them when I wasn't fighting. And now I got kids and, I want to go home and sleep with my wife in the bed that the house I pay the mortgage on. I don't want to be sleeping at some rando casino.
We were just talking about it last week, Jake Shields and I. It's like when we were first fighting, or even when we were first fighting. You remember people would ask you what you do, and you say, "Oh, I fight." And it was way before it was cool, and it was like something was wrong
like karate?
with you. People would look at you like you're a weirdo. They're like, "You do what? Why?"
Like WWF.
and you remember there was always there was a group of questions that always went with it as soon as they found out you're a fighter. Are there really no rules? Have you ever killed anybody? Do you really hate the guys you fight? Stuff like that. And they always came one after the other. They were so ridiculous. And I think nowadays, I think we were mostly, our generation, we were fighters. And I think the guys nowadays, they're athletes who fight.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, there's still some really good fights out there. And there's some really good fighters. And, I think every generation says this next generation is a bunch of pussies. Every generation says it, right? And hey, could I align with some of those? Yeah, but the ones that aren't are complete fucking monsters because they have the internet and they can see that like, hey, this guy did that move. That's cool. But can he do this and jump off the cage? And you're just like, oh my God. So the technique and part of it is becoming really high level.
Oh yeah. This next generation, I think this next generation is going to be the first generation of kids who trained grappling, wrestling, and striking since they were 6 years old. And I think the sport's going to explode talent-wise.
Yeah, there is a lot of kids out there that they're going to school in 3rd and 4th grade, and I want to be a UFC fighter. I'm training a guy right now. He's 27. This has been all he's wanted to do. And my boy Tiki was like, hey, dude, this kid comes to all the pro practices. He's living in his car. He's like, let's give him a shot. I'll get him in the UFC. He's got some fights. He's pretty strong. He's a tough kid. He's a wrestler. And I was like, all right. He's like, take him under your wing. I'm like, all right, bro. What exactly does that mean? He's like, I'll take that as, all right, bro. So every morning I'm here at 5. I'm like, all right, we're lifting. All right, we're doing this. And the kid hasn't complained once. Hasn't said one thing about I'm sparring this morning with a dude. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like, he's like, this is all I've ever wanted to do since I was a little kid. And I'm like, all right, well,
it's about to hit a different level. Let's change gears a little bit. Talk about some of like when people talk to you about your heydays or the glory days. What are the fights that come to mind? Is it WEC fights? Is it WFA?
Yeah, I would say I've really felt my home was at the WEC.
It was pretty cool to fight at the Hard Rock, right?
Yeah, find out the Hard Rock was the best, right? I knew everybody in the casino, and even when you're not fighting, they fly you out there, right? You're the champion. They're flying you out there for PR events to watch the fights. So I got a really good knack at playing blackjack and and hitting on all the waitresses. No, just kidding. It was. I'm not. It was a really fun, and I had the highest of highs in my life and career, and I had the lowest of lows. But that's what makes like you a fighter, right? Is you might be at the pinnacle and then you might be like, you might catch an injury, you might catch a loss. And it's not like, it's one thing if you lose on a small level show,
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it. Maybe they see it on your shirt dog, but like you lose and you're on TV. Everyone's like, oh, dude, you see that guy? And then you got to walk into your gym, right, where they pay you to teach them, and you got to face them and go, hey, man, yeah, it wasn't my night, but it is what it is. So the humility of it all, it makes you grow as a human and as a person. So that's the part I love about it as being a dad, is like my kids are like, hey, dad, you know, I'm like, hey, that they're training with me because they just thought it was fun. And now my oldest one is 15. He realizes, oh, dude, like, and he's a big kid. He's 6'2". I'm like, bro, you look like the Amazon. Kid? Yeah, 99.998%. He's mine. Yeah, that's a funny story about that, but I'll keep it up. Yeah, dude, and he's a gangster, dude. He loves it. He watches the fights, and then he's like, Dad, he's wrestling in our high school now. And he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 3. He's been striking, and now he's putting it all together. And I'm like, he's actually really good. And I'm like, oh, bro. He'll try to mess with me, and I'm like, I got old man strength on him. So I was like, not happening, bro. Not happening.
What tell me about, I mean, I remember you finishing Kit Cope in the first round, Crunkilton in the first round. I mean, that had to be the ones right there, right?
I mean, dude, you prepare for a fight and it goes exactly how you expected it to be, right? You prepare for the worst, expect the best. That's how I looked at all of those training camps. I got injured with Kit Cope. He went for a knee bar. I rewatched that fight a bunch of times. He did great with his jiu-jitsu program, like what he was planning on doing. He went through all of it, and halfway through, I went, fuck this guy's jiu-jitsu. He's a stand-up guy. And I twisted out of, he was going for like a heel hook. I turned my knee to defend it, and I was like, yeah, and I turned back and it popped. And I just kept hitting him, but I remember feeling it pop. And in the morning, I woke up in my hotel. I had this amazing fitness model next to me and a belt. And I'm like, yeah. And I turned over and my knee, and I'm like, oh. And she goes, what? I go, oh, that's weird. My knee feels weird. And it was not when I bent it. It was when I turned it sideways. So I was like, let's go down to the gym. I'm going to ride the bike. And she's like, yeah. And then I called the doctor, and he's like, hey, bro, come in. Did MRI. He's like, you tore your MCL. So that right there kind of set me back, which sucked. And then I got another stupid injury. So those, and I tore a ligament, but that was after that fight, ankle. So those kind of things throw you back, right? You start to get a little bit of momentum, and it's like, and that's why I tell everybody, hey, dude, you could be, I'm going to be the next this, I'm going to be the next that. If you're an athlete, you're one injury away from serving food at McDonald's.
You got to be good and be a little bit lucky. Let me ask you, let me change it up again. Who excites you today? You know, do you watch much of the fights? A lot of fighters kind of are disconnected today, but I imagine that, like me, you're pretty excited watching Alex Pereira.
Yeah, dude, that last fight was rad. That's what he should have done the first time. But I think he was hesitant on the first time around with that guy, the grappling. So he just he was kind of didn't want to throw because he didn't want to overcommit and get taken down. And then the second time he was just like, bro, I don't care. You take me down, I'm just going to beat you. Yeah, and so he sent it.
You know, maybe you could explain this. It's funny. I try to explain to my wife or other people who don't understand fighting like we do. You can have people who are proficient at striking, and I think I fall into this category. Proficient at striking, I look good on the pads. I understand what's going on. I'm physically strong. My physical force when I hit and kick the pads is physically strong. But I'm missing something. There's a certain magic some people have, and I would say you did, where they touch people and they go to sleep. And it's almost something you can't put into words or describe. Is there a way that you can describe that to people at home?
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that Colin Oyama said, who my coach. He was like, hey, bro, he's like, you have that one thing where you can hit people and put them to sleep with any limb. He's like, not a lot of dudes have that. So I was like, yeah. But I mean, I trained my ass off. That's what my manager had said originally. He goes, hey, bro, when you get home from teaching all day and training yourself, he's like, you'll come, you'll eat, and then you'll go for a 5-mile run. He's like, you're closet training. He's like, you're training. He's like, that's what it takes, right? And I was like, yeah. And then later on, I had won the belt. I'm going to the play with my friends. I'm like, thought I was Mr. Cool Guy. And he goes, I want to tell you, dude, when you moved in and you were doing your thing and you won the belt, you were doing that. Remember I had that speech? He's like, I'm just telling you. I was like, shut up, dude. He goes, remember Rocky? And he's like, you're civilized. And I'm like, shut up, dude. And I started to kind of think like, he might have had something. He might have had something there.
Yeah, so, but I just always, it's funny. You try to explain that to people. Like, yeah, like there's dudes who hit hard, but they don't put people down. It's just like a magic thing. I swear.
It is a lot of pad work. And mind you, I came from striking, right? So I did amateur boxing and I did amateur, highly decorated amateur Thai boxing, kickboxing, professional Muay Thai. So I had the, all right, dude, you got to get these angles. You got to hit him here. But I did a shitload of strength and conditioning on top of all that, a lot of rotation stuff. So before I became a personal trainer, which now I am, I didn't really have the science behind it, but I just knew like, hey, dude, if I'm going to try to hit you, like it's the same motion as like throwing a ball. I need that rotation. And it all comes from your feet, which people don't understand. So I ran from your hips won't move unless your feet move. So I ran in the sand every night, 5 miles with no shoes on. And I really attribute that to a lot of my success in the early beginning, because people like, this guy's new, right? And they're like, how come I can't put him away? I was on my toes. I jump rope. I ran. So I was springy, right? Those type 2 muscle fibers were firing and I wasn't getting tired. And so I hung out and got beaten up by a bunch of pro boxers. Jason Perillo like literally beat me senseless in the morning. So I was like, shit, I got to fire. Jason's here. All right, whatever. But it made me a better fighter because of that. But I'd be like, oh God, please not today.
Perillo was a terror back then. Let me, before we wrap up, can we, how can people find you? What can you plug? I know you have some stuff online.
Yeah. At Razor OB, RAZOROB. I got the handle for like Twitter and Instagram, Razor Striking System. Like I said before, I have that on Instagram and on Facebook.
So is there an online striking course?
We got it Razor Striking System on YouTube, and we've started to upload some of the stuff. So yeah, it's free content at this point.
Okay, we'll tag it when we upload this to YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be rad. Thanks, bro. So it's that on there, and it's me answering it. People are like, bro, you have people that work for you? I'm like, no, it's me like shooting the conversation. So I'll get people ask about like diet stuff or what do you do for workouts, and if I got the time, I'll send you a whole list of stuff. So I do appreciate it. I wouldn't be where I'm at without people that like paid to watch me fight, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Well, everyone, check out Razor Striking System on YouTube. Check out Razor OB.
Yep, Razor OB.
Razor OB online. Rob McCullough, thanks for joining us. I appreciate the 15 minutes. And everyone at home, thanks for watching the fight, guys. I'm Erik Apple, and we'll see you later.